This week in games, game developers are scared to come to the United States. Aloy voice actor speaks out against AI, and people can fly teams up with PlayStation? This is the Two Penny Gamescast. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 243. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
It's happy St. Patrick's Day. Isn't it great to be, well, by the time you're watching this, it's not St. Patrick's Day anymore. You're wearing green. I'm not.
That wasn't intentional. We are recording on St. Patrick's Day, but that was not intentional for me to be wearing green on St. Patty's. I just picked the shirt out of the closet because it seemed right.
I knew you didn't actually care.
No, I don't think about St. Patrick's Day ever. Any of these like felonious holidays, I never think about them. Never think about them. St. Patty's, President's Day. What's another one?
Memorial Day.
Honestly, Veterans Day, I don't even really think about.
Heard it here, folks.
You know?
He hates the veterans.
There's just a lot of those days. If it's not like a major holiday, I just don't really think about it. And to be honest, I don't think any of us think about it until something forces it down our throats. You know,
forces it down our throat. It's more like just reminds us it's coming.
What's another one like St. Patty's that
hit all the main ones?
That's on that one.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, I don't really think about that one either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah.
Even though it's very easy to know what exactly that is. Cinco?
I mean, even like Mother's Day and Father's Day, I don't really think of like that. You know, like what day is that? I don't know.
June is where Father's Day is. Mother's Day is February.
No, it's after that. Mother's Day is like May.
May, jeez.
I think they're back to back, aren't they?
That actually would make a lot of sense.
Maybe Mother's Day is in April.
May.
It's in May. I thought it was in May.
Father's Day is definitely in June.
Yeah.
I was right about that. Yep.
Yeah. So, anyways. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Two Penny Gamescast. Each week, me and Connor come to you with the nerdy news you need to know concerning the video game industry. We each come to you with two topics, two pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. If you're looking for any topic of discussion that caught your interest, if you're looking for any topic of discussion that caught your interest in the intro, time codes are in the description down below. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like and subscribe for more so that you can get your own 2 pennies involved in the show, including on our Will GTA 6 Ruin Video Games episode. Navin Toast wrote, "Mark my words, GTA 6 will just be GTA 5 with magenta lighting. The gameplay will be mostly the same for better or worse." And then also went on to talk about it's going to make tons of money and it's going to have that live service multiplayer thing. Industry in general has a problem with executives chasing infinite growth. They think making bigger teams and all that will do it. And then showed his support for the podcast. Thank you, Navantos, for showing support for the podcast. Really appreciate that. I mostly agree with him. I'm fairly certain. I mean, I think Rockstar makes Rockstar games, and you're either into that or not, and more likely than not, you are into that, You and I both really enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2. We both personally feel it's kind of overrated in the general scheme, but we still think it's a really great game, and you should play it if you have not. I believe that about Grand Theft Auto 5 as well. You're not really a GTA guy.
I am not.
Yeah.
Never have been.
No. And pound for pound, GTA 6 is just going to be a more evolved version of GTA 5. It's going to look better. It's probably going to play smoother and play better. To me, the only thing they have to get right is multiplayer lobby system setup. Like, it is a pain in the ass to get into the same lobby with your friends in GTA 5, and they need to fix that in 6. If they do that, I'm happy,
Well, no one will care because it's GTA 6. So
we
do
should
whatever
always
you
care.
want.
We should always care, Things can always be better.
Well, not necessarily. Well, things can be always better.
We should always hope for things to be better and be thankful when they're not worse.
Yes.
Because things can get bad so fast. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Of course, you can catch the show every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@TwoPennyGames, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. You can also watch us record all of our shows live Monday afternoon, twitch.tv/TwoPennyGames, to be involved in all of the live chat, and to be, you can get your questions read on the show, or you can get your input read on the show if you're in the Twitch chat with us, alongside recordings of shows such as the Two Penny Game Club and the Piggy Bank. Reminder, Two Penny Game Club, our monthly video game book club for the month of April, is going to be Kingdom Hearts 1. Connor, you and I beat that this week.
We beat it.
We beat it. So I'm very excited to talk about that in a few weeks. It's going to be a while. Make sure you remember, Connor. If you need to write some things down, write some notes down so that you know how you feel.
Oh, I know how I feel.
I know how I feel too, and I'm very excited to talk about it. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about video game industry news, and boy, oh boy, we've got some news this week. So, Connor, we're going to start with you with your first penny of the day, our first topic of the day. Please go ahead and take it away, my friend.
I will.
Oh! And of course, all of the stories that we read here on the Two Penny Gamescast, Sir Connor here wrote himself. And you can, in fact, read those stories over at twopennygamesnews.substack.com. So make sure you subscribe to our Substack so you can get the leg up on everything we're going to talk about. So then when you jump over to the Twitch stream, you can be informed and have an informed conversation with us as we talk about it. Connor, go ahead, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, all right then. Let's get started. Developers back out of GDC as the U.S. government cracks down on speech, the border, and the LGBTQ community. A number of foreign game developers are pulling out of the annual Game Developers Conference, GDC, following increased aggression by the Trump administration on a variety of issues like immigration and free speech violations. Aftermath spoke with a number of developers on why they won't be attending GDC, such as trans developer Loa Gunnars from Iceland, who fears that they'd be turned around at the border saying, quote, "I had flight tickets, hotel, and pass all lined up and decided to cancel last week due to the possibility of being turned around at the border for being trans," end quote. In addition to a proposed Texas law that would make it fraud to identify as trans to private and government institutions, transgender women will similarly be investigated for fraud if they travel to the country to participate in sporting events. Writer Jill Murray from Montreal cited the government's attitude towards trans and minority individuals as the deciding factor for their withdrawal. Quote, "The breaking point was seeing how afraid trans and bi people of color, BIPOC, which is people of color, what's the bi part? You would know more."
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'm struggling to recall.
But people of color.
Let me Google it. Let's educate ourselves live on the air while you keep talking.
Yes. By people of colors, whatever. Friends were of crossing the border, Murray said. "I take it seriously and don't really want to go where they can't go," end quote. Egyptian-born Rami Ismail from the Netherlands had apprehension in attending the conference since the, quote, disappearing, end quote, of green card resident Mohammed Khalil over his protests against U.S. support for the Palestinian ethnic cleansing and genocide at the hands of Israel. Quote, "The Republicans are straight up disappearing people, mate. I'm Egyptian. I know what's disappearing. I know what disappearing is. Little van shows up, gone you are," Ismail said. "In the Republican U.S., they could grab me and make me go away, and nobody would be able to do shit even if they tried. I think if anyone with Western privilege would be worried about going to Egypt, they should now be equally worried about going to the U.S. Khalil was separated from his 8-month pregnant wife by ICE on the grounds of his student visa being revoked despite being a green card holder, whereupon, stating this, was told he was being arrested regardless. Khalil attended Columbia University and took part in protests for the college to divest itself from Israel due to the vast number of human rights violations with both the Joe Biden and Donald Trump administrations pushing for protests to be ceased. While stories of minorities being expelled and barred from the U.S. is nothing new, especially underneath both Trump presidencies, British traveler Rebecca Burke continues to be detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, following 2 legal attempts to enter Canada from the U.S. Additionally, 2 German tourists named Jessica Brosch and Lucas Seiloff were held for 46 days and 16 days, respectively, despite entering the country legally. Much of the apprehension centers around border security, specifically from Canadian developers, due to Trump's sudden trade war and calls for annexing the country as the 51st state. Quote, since a vast swath of Canadian businesses have decided to remove American products and pivot to non-American services, and citizens are increasingly opting out of traveling to the U.S., we thought it was only prudent to do the same, says co-founder of the indie studio Bancy Co., Benjamin Rivers. So instead of attending events like GDC or PAX, we've opted to spend our marketing budgets on events in Canada, Europe, and Asia. We know that American friends and colleagues don't support what the government is doing and will dearly miss meeting them at events like GDC. But it seems insane to travel to a country that has all but declared you its enemy and in which random innocent travelers are already being detained. So we've opted to not cross that border for the foreseeable future, end quote. While outrage erupted over free speech violations and judges impeded Trump from using the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador, Trump has defied the judge's Saturday ruling and doubled down on his arrest of Khalil, vowing this is, quote, the first arrest of many to come. Here on the Substack, there is a blurb from a Truth Social post that Trump made where he's describing such a thing, further wanting to crack down on Columbia University, who has been at least in the news, at the forefront of the protests against Israel, with violence being enacted upon them by counter-protesters, police, of course, and now, with Trump threatening to defund universities that allow these protests, it's even becoming a more standard thing for these protests to be pushed back against by the universities in question. I had mentioned before in the article that the students' protests are specifically for Columbia to divest from Israel. I know they have a lot of financial ties to Columbia, a lot of Zionist professors who have been pretty vocal about supporting Israel, despite the fact that there have been many claims from human rights groups that there's been abuses against the Palestinian people, sometimes coming from the words of Netanyahu and Smotrich, I think he's the defense minister of Israel, directly. And these things are just being disregarded, and instead they are overwhelmingly described as being anti-Semitic protests, despite the fact that one of the key groups is Jewish Voice for Peace. In fact, there's a group that's protesting right now, and they went to Trump Tower inside it to protest. Some of them were arrested, and they were wearing shirts that said, not in our name. And despite that fact, when they were represented in the media, it wasn't as Jews fighting against the Zionist ethno-state project that's going on, but rather describing them as Jew haters and terrorist sympathizers, not people who are just upset that there's, once again, clear human rights violations at the hands of Israel with massive assistance from the United States. And it's, as Trump said, it's only going to get worse. Of course, for them, it's better because they want to silence people rather than letting them speak, which is why they're, doing things like disappearing people for, protesting for Palestinians, as long as they have some room to do so. Because it is important to stress that Khalil was never, he was never charged with a crime. They say he supported these terrorist groups and he took part in, I can't remember what exactly, if they described it as anti-Zionism or anti-Semitic behavior, because they've equated those exact same things. Probably anti-Semitism. But point is, they saw a reason to get rid of him. And even though it turned out to not be true, he was not here on a visa. He was much farther along in the process of becoming a U.S. citizen, having a green card, and despite that fact, he was still arrested. So it's fair for these game developers to be looking across the seas and, not wanting to go and be just like a random German tourist, because it's kind of dark to admit, but at this point, it's become very commonplace for both the U.S. in the international stage and its domestic stage to what's the word, to cast somebody in a bad light, to dehumanize, yes. Dehumanize, particularly, darker skinned people, brown skinned people. But it's gotten so bad to the point where even white people from foreign countries are getting arrested and detained for, large portions of time without seemingly given due process. That woman was kept in, detention for 46 days. And she did no actual crime either. It's just it's a kangaroo country, I guess you could call it. But can't blame these developers for wanting to leave.
No, not at all. No, I 100%. Yeah, I'm with them. I wouldn't come here if I were in their shoes. No, I wouldn't come to the United States. The United States is not a safe place right now. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been for a couple of years, if we're being honest, or arguably never has been, if we're being honest.
Less so than
But yeah, definitely right now it's a terrible place to be. I hate saying this on a live platform, but I'm ashamed to be an American.
I know you are.
Yeah, I have been for essentially the last decade now. I've been ashamed to be an American. This is infuriating and I mean, it's just human rights getting trampled on, as you so eloquently laid out the facts just now. It's just human rights getting trampled on left and right. And if you just so happen to not be a person with fair skin, you're in a lot of danger everywhere you go. By the way, Black and Indigenous people of color.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just another categorization because in the United States, Black and Indigenous people have been so thoroughly oppressed in this country's history. Anyways, listen, I don't have much, there's not much to say. I get it. I don't blame them. Do what you got to do. It sucks that this is going to affect the industry in the way that it has. This is going to affect creativity and networking, and it's going to affect people's careers. There are games that are not going to get as much coverage as they would have if these people were able to come here or felt safe coming here. GDC has a history of already not being the safest event to go to.
Does it?
Specifically for women.
Okay.
Just in general, there's a lot of stories of, keep an eye on your drink type thing and don't meet people in their hotel rooms type stuff. So that plus just the socio-political state of this country right now. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I would stay home as well. Why? For what reason? The risk is too great. So yeah, listen. All I've really got to say is there's a more elegant and more intelligent way to go about this conversation. But I don't see the point in doing that with you either know. Let me put it this way. Unfortunately, the United States and really the world is divided deeply right now. I think everybody's got an opinion on it, and you typically fall on one of the other sides. I fall on one side, Connor. You typically fall on the same side. Dude, fuck Donald Trump. Fuck everyone who supports him. Fuck this Republican administration. They can all burn in hell as far as I go. Fuck Elon Musk. And anybody who supports them or continues to support them or has ever supported them and never changed your perspective on that, fuck you too. You may not be a bigot, but you are an idiot,
I think of, a lot of this is not really connected to the story, but it's gotten to the point where even the Republican Party has recommended to not have town halls because due to Elon Musk's actions of cutting specifically Social Security.
Yeah, the Republicans are getting Republican politicians are getting run out of town.
Yes, and of course they decry them as being lefty plants or just instigators, but it's really just
no. These are your supporters who you conned into believing you, and you fucked them up because of course they did because conservatism is fucking rooted in selfishness. Stop voting red. Mm-hmm. They're bad people. There's no other way to put it.
Too late for that.
The time for where's the gray? Why can't we find a middle ground? The time for that's long over. Mm-hmm. Long over. And it wasn't your so-called leftists or your Democrats or your liberals who did it. It was the people who consistently chose bigotry, hatred, and greed over humanity. Every single time they've made that choice. There's never been a case where they haven't, And even if you do manage to pull some random story where some maggot was able to be like, oh, no, see, we're still good people. There's a bajillion other stories to prove the opposite. But if you support this president, you're either a bigot and an idiot or just an idiot.
But Trump is funny, so it's okay.
Yes. You know who my favorite Mario brother is, Connor?
Luigi.
Love Luigi. Green hat. Love it. So great.
Kind of a racist name, though, for an Italian. Mario, not so much, because I think it's only considered generic because of who he became. But I think Luigi.
Mario's a very common Italian name. Very common Italian name. You see Bill Burr in his press tour lately for whatever his thing. He is off the leash.
Always has been. Well, he's always been. Yeah, he has.
He is super fed up. Like he is pissed off, and I'm gonna go watch his new special.
Yeah, it's been funny, but he's not funny as conservatives have said. I wonder what changed.
Oh, I thought conservatives were so well educated on what a joke is. I thought their whole thing was, you can't be mad at a joke.
You can't be. You're being a pansy.
Who's the real snowflakes out here, Connor? Who are the real snowflakes out here? Connor,
everybody who a lot of people are, unfortunately.
Connor, we're going to move on to our second topic of the day, one that is just as infuriating, but hopefully one that we feel like we could actually do something about. Fingers crossed. Mm-hmm. Moving on to my first topic of the day.
Disgusting.
I know. I'm sorry. My first penny of the day. Voice actors express worry over continued expansion into AI. While SAG-AFTRA continues to negotiate for improved protections for voice actors against AI, some performers have expressed outrage over recent AI exploitations of voice actors. A leaked Sony test demo showed PlayStation's Horizon franchise protagonist Aloy in a generative AI video with a robotic voice instead of the character's voice actor Ashley Birch. Though none of the actor's facial or voice data was used, and assurances were made by developer Guerrilla Games that the video wasn't indicative of any ongoing projects, Birch took to TikTok to express her concerns for AI's continued implications. Quote, I feel worried, and not worried about Guerrilla specifically, or Horizon, or my performance, or my career specifically. Even I feel worried about this art form, game performance, Birch said. She later says, quote, I just imagine a video like this coming out that does have someone's performance attached to it, that does have someone's voice or face or movement, and the possibility that if we, SAG-AFTRA, lose this fight, that person would have no recourse. The AI Aloy video was copyright struck from YouTube and subsequent postings on sites like X, formerly Twitter, having similarly been removed on the basis of copyright violations. While much of the focus has been directed at AAA studios, the indie space hasn't gone untouched. Indie developer Serene Questworks came under fire by voice actors regarding their upcoming adventure game Castle of Secrets, with voice actor Mika Narita taking to Twitter to declare their removal from the game in favor of AI, despite claiming to have been cast to perform over 4,000 lines. Quote, hey voice actors, Narita exclaimed. Quote, put a finger down if you were about to be in a video game, but the devs decided that they wanted to use AI-trained voices over your takes for over 4,000 plus lines. Then decided to can not only you, but every voice actor they had, refusing other talent on board. Okay. Part of Narita's post was a photo of a ban notification from the Castle of Secrets Steam community page, which would later be claimed to belong to fellow dismissed voice actor Ian Mitchell after posting in the grammatically incorrect post titled, quote, Gave developed with AI. It was grammatically incorrect. Okay, yeah, nice. Real smooth. Mitchell wrote, quote, devs use AI to make voice actors sound like multiple different people instead of having the actors act out as the characters. Make it less authentic as a computer's doing the voices. And when plenty of good voice actors volunteered to voice a good range of characters without charging too much, they got shut out when asking to not use AI on them. Narita spoke with game developer, saying she was cast with the understanding of replacing AI placeholder voices, only to find out that rather than have the actors do multiple voices, they'd use AI, seemingly described as a voice filter instead. Mitchell says they hadn't yet recorded the lines, but rather were told last minute of the change. Mitchell pointed out that despite another actor agreeing to the terms, they were removed from the project anyway. Serene Questworks have yet to comment on the controversy. The most recent development regarding the SAG-AFTRA's fight over voice actor protections involves the union looking to address, quote, alarming loopholes in the proposal by a bargaining group representing Activision, Blind Light, Disney character voices, EA, Formosa Interactive, Insomniac Games, Llama Productions, Take-Two, and WB Games.
Mouthful, huh?
A lot going on. Listen, Connor, your stories this week are long but fantastic.
Good.
Very
I'll
well
take
written.
that.
Very well written this week.
They're about to get shorter.
Subscribe to Substack. Anyways, so yeah, voice actors continuing the fight against.
I want to shout out Roger the Corgi in the chat. He was there since the Republican argument.
Oh, thank you.
And I looked over and
He said red with the thumbs down. Facts.
I don't know when he joined in or they joined in.
Thank you, Roger the Corgi 42. You've been in the chat before.
So, yeah.
You've been in the chat before. Nice to see you again.
Sells it.
Yeah. So thank you for hopping in. Yeah, give us your he says AI is only good in the right hands, like everything else.
It's true.
I mean, yes, true. AI in art gets very, very complicated very, very quickly. Mostly in art forms, I fall on the side of let's not use it at all. Video games are a little trickier than, say, like movies or television, books, art, voice acting, anything like that, cartoons and things like that. Video games are a little different just because you are using technology inherently. It's a technology-based art form. So there are ways that you can use AI to make it easier to make games without taking the jobs and the artistry out of the workers and out of the artists themselves. There's ways to do that. This is not that case.
No.
Voice acting should be a absolute protected right for these artists. And hey, can you? It's like she's knocking on it because it's only half locked. Can you go fully lock it? Yeah, voice acting is fully should be a fully protected art form here, and game performance absolutely should be a fully protected thing. I fall with Ashley Birch here. When she says, hey, I'm not worried about me, I'm not worried about my character, or I'm not worried about Guerrilla Games, but this is a danger that is looming upon all of us, and we should all do our best to... Roger's not sure. Maybe there's another corgi that has been in the chat. AI shouldn't be used in video games. For the most part, I think, yeah, it's just better not to. It's worth noting... one of my favorite games of last year and one of my favorite games of all time, really, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, had a little bit of controversy because one of the characters in that game launched with an AI voice. It was later replaced with an actual actor, but it launched with an AI voice, which was disturbing and unsettling and definitely the worst part about that game, and most disappointing part about that game for sure. But yeah, this is something that we really need to focus on. That fight. That's something that can be done here with enough public outcry right now, because it's not as something that is as slow moving as a government entity. These are companies which are inherently focused on profit, and that profit can be taken away.
And since I walked away, like brief summary, you were making the case that
voice acting should be protected.
Yes, yeah. Because the use of AI, there's a lot of redundancy that you have to go through, specifically with coding. I know for a fact is, AI is very useful, but you still have to go through and make sure that the AI didn't mess something up. No employer or company just wants some automatic process to completely dictate, at least right now, whether you made some corrections to code based off of what an AI told you to do.
There's been a lot of studies in tech and in game dev and just software development in general where they tried to have an AI make it for them, and then they had to go back and fix everything the AI broke and basically had to rewrite everything anyway. Like, AI is just not at a point where it can properly create these things on its own. But one day it might get there, and that's what's scary.
And I think the key benefit of AI would be to make it to where those long development times can be shortened a little bit. Since that's been one of the biggest issues with the games nowadays, is they take too long to make. And so if there's some way to use AI in a very limited manner, but one that still can reduce it by a couple months, because those automated processes, I'm assuming they can do a pretty good amount of work in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah.
So again, I'm spitballing here because I don't know exactly its implementations, and the story at hand was clearly not that, because they said there's no ongoing projects that are this is trying to be used for.
Somebody's doing it.
That's a lie. They obviously didn't want this to come out, seeing as how they've copyright striked it anywhere I could look for it. The only way I was able to find the original video was it didn't have the audio. I had to find out about the robot voice elsewhere, and her basically you could tell it wasn't the natural mocap of the Horizon character, but it looks very well advanced. It doesn't look bad. You know, for most games, you'd say, you know, maybe you didn't need to.
A little janky, but you know,
maybe reduce what you're trying to do with the face, but it's not bad. Of course, knowing what actually is going on there, it's a little bit alarming to say the least.
Yeah,
especially when you at the same time have the other bit of an entire game replacing paid voice actors or who were going to be paid voice actors with AI. Clearly, that
should be illegal.
It should be illegal, which is why SAG-AFTRA is fighting back against it. Is because it's not, and clearly there need to be defenses for it. Because the one benefit, the pro, I should say, that I could give the company is that it seems like it was not up for the voice actors to dictate whether they were going to record multiple voices or whether they were going to substantiate it with AI. All I care about is that they were right. But as from a legal perspective and from your business owning perspective, they do have the right to do that without input from the voice actors because there's no unions.
Yeah, well, yes, for development there's no unions, but for actors there are. That's why they're striking right now, right? That's what SAG-AFTRA is. So my understanding of SAG-AFTRA's argument here is that they are more. They're not saying outright that they don't want AI. They just want to be able to be in control if their voice or likeness or anything in their performance has AI in it.
Yeah.
You know, so if they do choose to be like, I don't feel like for video games, for example, Nathan Drake does a lot of grunting when he climbs up and down the walls. If, for example, a Nolan North was like, hey, I'm not feeling it today. I want to protect my voice for later on down the line. So I'm not going to do all the grunting and things that need to happen to climb up a wall or whatever. Let's let the AI do that. That would be his choice, right? And that would be their. And if the creative team wanted to go in that direction, then they could, right? That's all that. The point is to keep the choice in the creator's hands, in the artist's hands, and not, hey, let me sample your voice. Let me sample 30 minutes of you talking into this microphone, and then use it to craft an entire performance. No, that's taking away from why I'm here in the first place. And then. Yeah, this is disappointing, and it's going to keep going. I had a thought about I have a lot of thoughts about using temporary AI voice placeholders. I can understand why it would be useful from a production standpoint. Game development is non-linear, so like it's just nice to have some placeholder elements there for different parts of game dev that I don't understand, whatever that may or may not be. I do think artistically it is likely to pigeonhole the actor into delivering the line like the AI does, because either the director or the game devs are familiar with that line delivery, so they're used to that and they don't want it to be something else because they've grown accustomed to what that is, you know? So ideally it would be nice if it just 100% only came from the actor, and whatever the director sort of guided them into through the actual work of acting. There's that, but on the same side of it, man, it'd be really easy to like test for bugs if there was an audio line here, that we could kind of fill in, or if we could test multiplayer gaming via like being able to do audio commands, where enemy over there, like type thing, and there was like an AI generated thing. I can see how that would be useful for game development in that case. I don't personally like the idea, but that's sort of the way this medium works. So, I'll let people who are smarter and more involved in game development than me answer that question.
Like many issues that are coming up in the games industry today, unionization is
100%.
the best way to deal with it, as this clearly shows. Because SAG-AFTRA standing for voice actors, I know they make exceptions if they're worked through the union. That's why they still have games with voice actors in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a general thing, this strike is very good for voice actors.
It is. I just wish it was incorporated in the strike that they had last year before, when they were doing the Hollywood SAG-AFTRA strikes and movie and film and TV actors doing that. I wish they had included voice acting in that, because those actors won and got what they wanted. And I'm hopeful that performance capture and voiceover also wins in that way, because it's all the same trade, just different tools.
Yeah,
exactly. They're doing the same work. So yeah, it's very, very disappointing to see that this industry is quickly capitalizing on that and falling victim to that. But that's not all. It's not all bad news this week, Connor. We do have something that is a little interesting, a little exciting, and possibly, maybe, Connor, the return of something old. So let's move on to our third topic of the day. Your second penny of the day. Take it away, friend.
Developer People Can Fly partners with Sony to create a new game under Sony IP. Polish video game developer People Can Fly announced it's collaborating with Sony Interactive Entertainment to produce a new game based off a Sony IP codenamed Project Delta. The March 14th announcement came in the form of a report from People Can Fly, wherein it explains the game will be divided into milestones and that the production agreement, quote, do not differ substantially, end quote, from similar deals. An example is the recent agreement with Microsoft to develop the Gears of War prequel title, Gears of War E-Day, in conjunction with Xbox Game Studios, the Coalition. In addition to Gears of War E-Day, People Can Fly has a number of secret projects in the work, such as Project Bifrost, Project Victoria, and a VR titled Project Bison. 2 other secret projects will be made for external publishers, like Project Gemini with Square Enix and Project Echo with Krafton, publisher of PUBG Battlegrounds. People Can Fly, formerly Epic Games Poland, was founded in 2002 and is responsible for working on titles such as the original Gears of War Judgment, Bulletstorm, and Outriders. So,
not a lot of information there.
None.
Even the title Project Delta. Well, they clearly use, what do they call it? Like a military alphabet or
call signs?
Call signs. Yeah. Alpha, Beta, Charlie,
Omega,
Delta. Yeah, all those. Clearly, they pretty much do that, except with the exception of Project Bifrost. But Project Victoria and Bison, Victoria, Gemini, Echo, and now Delta, all things. But this has a little bit more weight to it. They're doing something, whether we see it or not, who knows? Who knows? Game development, tricky thing. A lot of games get canceled. Clearly, a lot of studio layoffs and things like this. People Can Fly keeps themselves alive by working on a lot of different things at once, and doing little smaller projects or being a support studio for XYZ thing, which is great for them. This feels like, to me, a full-fledged AAA game, just from the very little crumbs that we have here. So now it's time to speculate. What is it? A game under Sony IP. Maybe not necessarily a PlayStation IP.
Sony.
It's a Sony IP. Now, what could that be? Fucking, who knows? 100 things. But let's focus on, let's keep it to what we know. All right? Yeah. Let's keep it to what we know. Let's stay PlayStation IP right. Mm-hmm. People Can Fly, most experienced with shooters, third person and first person.
Yep.
And make quality ones at that. What first person shooter PlayStation franchise could come, or third person, could come back with People Can Fly here. Now,
I don't think it's a remaster. It's obviously not a remaster.
I think it's a new game.
Yeah, not a remake either. So
yeah. I think it's a new game, either a reboot or a spinoff or just something new. My instinct is to go Resistance here.
Yes, there has been it has a following. People like that game.
Yeah,
and so it makes sense that it would be them.
Insomniac's not coming back to it.
No,
they're too busy making Spider-Man and Wolverine and Ratchet and Clank and probably something else that they've got cooking in early pre-production right now.
I think the 2 big ones are Resistance and Killzone.
Killzone. Yeah, that was the other one. I think Guerrilla is still a little too tied to that one. There's always been talks of them doing some type of Killzone something has been in the works. I think all of that is getting quietly canceled or quietly shut down, and they're just going to make Horizon 3 to get some money up.
Yep.
But there was always talks of that. But yeah, I think Guerrilla is going to stay on Horizon. So it could possibly be Killzone, but I think personally, I think Resistance is more likely. It's been dormant longer. It's not as beloved as Killzone,
but it didn't have the fall off that Killzone had. Whereas Resistance, it seemed like people still liked it all the way to the beginning, to the end.
Yeah. I don't know if Killzone really had fall off like that.
I mean, it feels like with 3, it was a step down from 2. Wasn't it?
2, to my understanding, I've not played really a Killzone game. I've played the opening 30 minutes of Killzone Shadowfall, which was the PlayStation 4 launch title.
Which that's the other thing I'm thinking of.
It was all right. It was good.
But even when it was one of the only games on the PlayStation, people weren't flocking to it the same way they were Warframe.
Yeah, it
or
wasn't
Infamous even. Like Warframe, that's where it got its start. It was able to survive because of the PS4 originally.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. So and also like something about Resistance just feels like people can fly a little bit more when you think about Gears of War, when you think about Bulletstorm
specifically.
Yeah,
where
that feels kind of, well, maybe not. I mean, Bulletstorm like kind of takes the piss out of themselves, and maybe that's the fun twist that they can have with Resistance.
Exactly, because that was during a time you've criticized it when it's a
Hate
lot more
this era.
grayer, darker shooters.
Browns, so many Browns,
and they got away with it to a degree because it's World War II and that kind of imagery of fighting in like Germany.
Resistance is a World War II game?
It's like kind of
like alternate history shit,
kind
right?
of like
aliens.
Remember, one of the whole the basic cover is like a army World War II helmet on an alien skull, and it's kind of like that older style of weaponry that you see.
Okay. Right.
But it's like alternate history, so they still have more technology. I think it integrates alien technology as well. Yeah. I played that game a long time ago, so
yeah, you and I rented it once or twice,
and I loved it.
We played the intro level, and I don't remember shit else.
I just remember having a lot of fun and the gunplay being good.
Which on it.
We need to put it on the list if it's not there, but I was fond of Bulletstorm back in the day, and I would like to revisit that in a full
it's fun
manner. It's fun. Exactly.
It's fun. I've revisited in the last... I revisited when they did the remaster one.
Yeah.
For that. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not like mind-blowing or anything, but it's like a fun game. It's one of those like if there's nothing else to play, sure, type games.
It made fun with the like a fun kick system, the
kick system, the leash, the
point system as well,
getting scores off of being unique, sort of added sort of like a action game styling to it, to a first person shooter. It was very unique for its genre and just the period of time that it came out in.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, it was very good, but it's got a really cheesy story and, really dumb characters. And it's a stupid game, but it's a fun game. Decent multiplayer. Another one of those, tacked on multiplayer games. It was just a horde mode, 4-player co-op.
3? Oh, yeah, 4, 3.
Couldn't tell you. I thought it was 4, but it might have been 3. It was decent. So yeah, and Gears of War Judgment Day, by far heralded as like the least good Gears of War game, but not a terrible game, not a bad game. Just definitely just not as good as the rest of the franchise there. So I think personally, Resistance is a franchise that can kind of fit People Can Fly a little bit better than other ones. The biggest issue with this is one, if we're just way off the mark, if it's like an Infamous game or something, I don't know, which would be strange. I don't want that.
I'm looking at some other things that Sony owns away from video games.
Yeah. That's where I was going next.
They have some kind of connection to the James Bond franchise, which I don't know. It says 11C, 44P, and then
we've already got a 007 game from the Hitman devs.
Is it coming out? Like, when was that?
That's their next thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Then the other one, it's a movie that's gotten a lot of attention. Why is this built up the way it is? Oh, I see. I'm double checking. I think it's owned. Is Columbia Pictures owned by Sony? Yes, it is. Yeah. So The Equalizer. It's a big, action movie starring Denzel Washington. That fits in the bill of maybe a bit more toned down than they've usually done.
A little more like spy.
No, he's like John Wick type character.
That's a better one. That's a better one. Yeah. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why not?
I mean, there's, like I said, it has Denzel Washington as a, he likes that character too.
Yeah. He's done fucking 3 of them,
and he's doing more.
Is he really?
Yeah, they're doing more, from my understanding. Yeah, because he's like, people like it. It's fun. He said something to that effect.
All right.
Just like, yeah. I've literally. Have you seen those movies?
All these old. I saw the first one.
I've heard all of them are like they've even gotten better. Like
first one was fun.
I've heard it gets better from there.
I've heard 2 is good. I don't remember hearing good things about 3.
Oh, you didn't?
But I don't know. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong too. Who
knows? And so something about these older actors doing these action movies, man, with the Takens and the John Wicks and the Equalizers, and these old guys like to get it in.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they? Men in Black.
Oh, that would be interesting.
That would be
that kind of fits with the tone of People Can Fly. I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it. We do some type of probably a first-person shooter game, something like that. Yeah.
I feel like you can get Will Smith, like Sony being able to get like, hey, could you voice this character that you're famous for in this video game? Could happen.
I think you do your own thing.
I would like that more, but it's Sony clearly trying to build something off an IP of theirs, and so they'd more likely do that for this case.
We're getting more Men in Black movie too.
Are we?
I think so. I could be wrong about that. Because the Men in Black 3 performed.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was well liked and it did well at the box office.
So
there's
the one after that did not. The Chris Hemsworth.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot about that one. Yeah, that one bombed hard.
What's the Valkyrie from? She's Marvel.
Tessa Thompson.
Yes, Tessa Thompson. She was in it.
Yeah. From all accounts, bad movie.
Yeah,
real bad movie. Yeah. Ooh, forgot about that one.
Right. I wouldn't think of it either.
So, I mean, I imagine you would do a Men in Black 4 movie with Will Smith coming back.
Yeah.
Probably after his I Am Legend 2 stuff. Can you believe we're getting an I Am Legend 2 movie? That's crazy.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to work.
Well, they're going off of the alternate ending that was supposed to be the actual ending, but then it didn't perform well with test audiences, so they did that bullshit self-sacrifice bit. But you can still see it's a deleted scene. They filmed it. They made it. You know, you can see it. So they're doing that. Michael B. Jordan's in it. I'm excited.
Yeah. Good.
I'm gonna watch that.
It's good.
Yeah. I Am Legend, pretty good movie.
Yeah, it is. It's very memed on and kind of joked about, but
yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
good. It's a good time.
I'm running out of things. SWAT.
No.
RoboCop, which they just had a RoboCop game.
Could see that. There was it was a not self-funded, kickstarted.
Yeah.
And it was like not like it wasn't a good game, but like people had a lot of fun with it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, you know, I hesitate to say well received, but the fandom liked it. The fandom liked it. So yeah, RoboCop makes sense to me. I could see that.
It does.
Sure. Yeah. Men in Black, RoboCop. I'm still putting my chips in on Resistance.
I am as well, because there's also Ghostbusters, which you could argue that, but the movies haven't done all that well. I think.
No, their experience with the Bulletstorm leash could make sense for
the stream.
The stream, yeah.
And also, I remember the last game that was Goosebumps. I mean, that was Ghostbusters was good. There was like that first person isometric. I think it was
the isometric game where one person played a ghost and the other four were Ghostbusters or whatever. It didn't last long.
It did not. No.
Yeah, no. I think it was okay.
Ghostbusters is one of those franchises that's always been weird to me.
It's been so weird to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, and I mean, the first one's funny because the acting that's going on there.
Yeah, and then they never get back there.
Yeah,
they never get back there. I mean, the Paul Rudd movies are fairly well received.
I heard they're bad.
No, that first one was well received. People liked that first one. It was just kind of a remake of the original, you know, or whatever, or you know, one of those redos. And then the latest one was not as well received, but people still kind of liked it. You know, it's in that. It was mid. It was mid.
And mid enough, and the franchise is not, I think, spectacular enough to justify a whole first-person shooter game. If it is,
I don't think Ghostbusters has ever been spectacular enough to justify anything other than its own first movie.
Some people disagree, obviously.
Remember when they did the Casper live-action movie and then they put a Ghostbuster in it? That was cool.
You know, I do not, and I don't need to.
You ever seen the Casper movie?
No.
It was the old movie. Yeah, it's
no,
good.
Not.
I mean, it's a movie.
I don't remember much from Casper. I guess I'm just a
friendly ghost.
Casper hater. Okay, wait 1 second. I think
you seen images. You're like it's starting to ring some bells.
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to find. Is this owned by Sony? I think it might be. Jesus Christ! How much fucking God? There's so much fucking stuff on here. I get it. Yeah. Okay. So Sony Pictures is involved. They are partly owners, I guess. They're part of the production company for The Boys. I don't know how IP would go, but that's a possibility. I mean, we're thinking in the terms of first-person shooters, but it really could be anything. That's just what they're known for. Because Outriders was a third-person shooter game, and it was a bit more, from what you would explain, action-oriented. It's not as typical as a third-person shooter, or is it just kind of a run-of-the-mill?
It's kind of like a Division game.
Okay.
Yeah, a little more focused on like superpowers.
Okay.
But it's that type of thing of like grinding out some gear, fully upgrading your kit. You know, Outriders is a solid game. It's a solid game. It's a fun time. I really respected them because they said, "Hey, this is not a live service game. It is that style of like constantly, rebuild, building out a build, and you have these abilities, and you're going to upgrade, and you're going to change out gear all the time and so forth. But we are doing this, and then we are done. You know, I think they did a DLC just because the game was so successful and they didn't know it was going to be. But they planted their feet and said, yeah, no, we're not doing games as a service here, which I fully respect them for. Outriders was it was a solid game. It was a good game. It was a good time. If you had nothing better to play, and they came out at a good time because we were still like pandemic era type stuff going on there. It was fine. It was good.
Yeah.
What was the point of that? For what IP did you tie that to?
The boys. And it's superpowers.
No.
Big in the they clearly want to extend beyond just the mainline TV series.
Oh, for sure. Especially because the show is coming to an end.
It is, yeah.
So they still want to figure out a way to get that check rolling in. I see it. I think that's a waste.
Yeah. I would go for the other ones we've been listing, but
I just don't see how you don't do Resistance. Like, that is too. The ante up is so good. You have this have a bold new take on. A bold new take on it. Hire some really talented writers. That was one thing about Outriders. Writing was pretty, but the gameplay was fun. So this is a team that can create a fun gameplay loop. They don't make the best games in the world, but they make fun games. And I think off of the success of, coming off of Outriders, I think Resistance would be a lot of fun. Because that would work too, of like, all right, let's get some gear going or whatever, and maybe you do like some like XCOM stuff in the sense of you start getting alien abilities, so forth, and so I don't know.
Speculations about
it.
You
could see a million things about it, but this is an interesting partnership. Don't expect cream of the crop out of this.
Don't never say never,
but I would expect a fun time
or one of the best games.
I'm expecting a fun time out of this. I'm expecting a game that I want to play.
Yeah.
Now, will I roll credits on it? More likely than not, I will not.
But hey, they'll get you with this one.
Who knows? They might if it's a good IP. If it's Infamous,
it could be.
If it's Infamous, I don't know what you would do with that, but
Sly?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. Yeah, Sly Cooper's not even a world that you want to return to in a spin-offy way.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. But this is my thing with both of those franchises, and both of those are Sucker Punch, which I do believe Sucker Punch holds their own franchises close to their heart.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see them being okay with an Infamous game getting signed off. I think Sly is pretty much dead in the water outside of a potential remake.
Mm-hmm.
Which I could see that because Sly 1 sold really well when they brought it to PS4, PS5. Sold really well. So we might get something out of that. Doubtful though, especially not this soon off of that.
No way.
No, definitely not. And People Can Fly is just wrong. That's a wrong pick for that. But mark my word, watch. I say this, and in 3 years we'll get an announcement trailer. It's People Can Fly, Sly Cooper, and I'm gonna be like, "Fuck!"
You're gonna be happy.
No, this is not what I want.
Yeah, I'll wait and see.
I wanted the Concrete Genie devs to do that, but they're defunct now.
As game development,
Tango Gameworks would have been really good for a Sly Cooper.
They're still
game.
around.
They would have been really good for that. I don't know if anybody else right now is really getting me excited about a Sly Cooper. So we're gonna move on.
No one seemed to care that it was not as forefront in Astrobot or whatever other stupid thing.
I cared.
Yeah, I know you did.
I cared.
I heard you cared.
Should have been Sly Cooper in the gang, not just Sly.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was not. Move on to them.
You capture 1,000 bots in that game. Only 300 are actual characters. You tell me you couldn't make a couple more?
You couldn't.
Put a fucking pink hippo head on one and a fucking turtle and a safari hat on another.
A game like that comes out to where it's not being made over the course of 10 years, and you wouldn't just add more work.
Make them pop out the van or something.
More work, huh? You gonna make that? You gonna integrate that?
You think it's hard to make an Astrobot? No, I don't think so either.
Have a base model to work from.
Yeah, you saw the some of those characters are literally just they put a tactical suit and a bandana on one, and now it's Solid Snake. The big boss variant of that is just his camouflage. And it's the same. How many fucking nobodies with a sword are there that you can't even fucking name?
Onimusha guy. He was in there.
A fucking game, man. That was a good game. Game of the year. Game of the year. Moving on, Connor. Final topic of the day. This one's also mine? It is also mine. Look at that. A new tactical Star Wars game from Respawn to be revealed next month. A new tactical... Jeez. Oh, okay. No, it's not. Okay, I thought it was over.
No,
I was like, whoa. A new tactical Star Wars game from Respawn Entertainment and Bit Reactor will be showcased at the Star Wars Celebration in Japan next month. This is according to the schedule of the multi-day event on the official Star Wars website, which shows the game will be debuted on April 19th from 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Look up when the Switch 2 thing is. Around that time. Developer Bit Reactor is no stranger to creating tactical games, with the studio being founded in 2021 by former XCOM devs, as well as developers from the Civilization franchise, among others like Elder Scrolls and Gears of War. In January, a rumor from Twitter user at Bogarad222 was that a public announcement and trailer were to be released during the annual celebration, and that the title will be on the usual platforms of Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. It was recently confirmed by the Game Post that Respawn canceled an unannounced FPS that has been worked on for the past year, resulting in a small number of employees being let go, as reported by IGN. So, this is one of those 3 games that was announced years ago, 2021. Yeah, 2021, under Respawn. They were doing, I believe, what eventually became Jedi Survivor, if my memory serves me correctly, right? And then it was another one that has been canceled, and then this one. And this is the only surviving game that Respawn has been working on because all of the other ones have been canceled, which is unfortunate. So now, from Respawn, I'm expecting Jedi 3, and you said that there was going to be a refocus back to Apex Legends.
Apex Legends and Star Wars, which how much they'll double down, I don't know. I feel like it'll be time for an Apex Legends resurgence.
Yeah.
Seeing as how they haven't done much with it in
It's been a little
years,
dormant for the last probably 2 years or so.
Which is, I remember when they were really like going more all in on it. There was that moment when they realized,
post-pandemic, I want to say about this time, 21, 22.
Yeah, and that showcase for the Switch is on April 2nd. So,
is it really April 2nd? Oh, wow, fuck, that's really fucking close.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, right?
New console. It's pre-order.
To get showcased. Oh, yeah.
How crazy is that your birthday, you're going to lose $400?
Someone is.
What does that mean?
Get my parents to buy it, maybe.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to, like, rob me for it. I was like, oh, no, I don't have it.
Well, you will have a console that I can take. Stage you breaking.
Excuse me?
Never mind.
You about to fucking rob me for a Switch 2?
Yeah, so the cool thing about this is it's the XCOM developers, because they know how to make a tactics game. And, it's
XCOM 2 is still one of my favorite video games ever.
It's an amazing one. Yeah. And though you and me aren't big RTS players, in that same vein, Civilization developers.
Yeah.
Funny enough, the newest one dropped in points. It's probably one of the lowest rated Civilization games. It's 79 now.
Damn, is it really?
It dropped,
I saw it go to 81.
Yeah, it dropped substantially. So I know it was more held in higher regard previous installments, which is probably going to be from the... those are probably going to be the developers that moved over to Bit Reactor. So this game has a lot of potential just in its DNA alone. But, there was a recent Star Wars tactical-like game. I think it was a phone-based game that just ended service. It came out like 9 months ago. Yeah,
9 points on that Sid Meier's Civilizations.
I know.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a way, bigger
I did
source
too.
of points.
That's really disappointing.
For me.
It's your Rise of the Ronin.
It is, yeah.
Or what was the other one that failed me last year? There's one that failed me big time. That we were all shocked that it was bad. Or not as good. I forget. Doesn't matter. Here. Now I'm here, so now I'll go back and I'll look at it. So go ahead.
Yeah, but the framing of Star Wars allows for you to do basically anything. Being a tactics game, I feel like the best option is to go
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yes.
God damn, y'all let me down on that one. 6 points. Fuck.
Well, Star Wars is such a expansive universe that you should just put it in a space where, as the lore works, because I know that matters here, is where all of the different, Jedis existed. You have maybe droids as well, the Republic. I'm not big on the lore of Star Wars. But point is, you can pick a time, like I would think Knights of the Old Republic frame, where you can have a lot of different types of characters to have an expansive source of units to draw from, since you're not hands-on like a Jedi Survivor, and so you're not going to think, oh, another lightsaber user. It's going to be an entirely different type of game. And you've wanted an RTS game or a tactical game for quite some time now. So
I've wanted anything except no more first-person shooters and no more action-adventure games, please.
And
this universe, this subgenre, it can be so expansive. It could really be anything. I want more RPGs a la KOTOR, a revamped of the Old Republic MMO or a new MMO of any kind with Star Wars. But a tactical game, that's up my alley. I would very much like a tactical Star Wars game, I mean, you think about it like ground warfare, Jedis, battle droids, troopers, tanks, hybrid tank things like walkers and so forth, and ground-focused aerial fighters, like the equivalent of like a snow speeder or anything that's like just focused to be like closer to the ground, not in space. And then you go up to space, have space battles in a tactical sense. Like it just kind of writes itself.
It does.
And it to be from former XCOM devs is exciting. I'm not expecting this to be on the level of an XCOM or an XCOM 2.
Reactor has yet to prove themselves.
Yeah, it could be new. And then with Respawn is one of the best developers in the world right now, despite, a lot of their games being riddled with bugs. But they're fantastic. The Titanfall games speak for themselves. The Jedi games are generally upheld as great games. And Apex Legends is my favorite battle royale that's on the market. I'm super excited to see what the two put together can create. I don't think it's gonna be. I think it is gonna have more of an action twist than say an XCOM. I think that's gonna be the Respawn influence. There is that we're gonna find some weird hybrid between action and tactics in some way. Maybe a la what we're seeing with Clair Obscur, or a la oh god, man, if we could find some type of hybrid that like kind of works sort of like a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth thing, but that feels too big. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect from here. I would guess between the range of sort of a probably around the range of like a Midnight Suns, where it's like quality game, good game, creative game. I'm expecting this to be revealed and it to not be what we're expecting.
We'll find out very soon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let us know down in the comments below what you think about this game and and how excited you are for it, and all of the topics that we talked about today on this episode of the Two Penny Gamescast, which of course you can find every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@2pennygames, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. Remember to like, subscribe, share for more. Follow us on social medias. Links are in the description down below. And until next time, have a great time. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.